Hi, my name is Cindy. I'm doing this for my sociology class 330. Um, when I grew up in the 1950s, uh, there was a certain sort of gender roles that were very differentiated and made sure that you knew your role. Like the movies that were going on during my time, the TV shows were Ozzie and Harriet, Leave It to Beaver, Father Knows Best. They were all with the males in the dominant control. The males went and they went to work. Everyone respected them, and the woman did all the work at home, took care of the children, and everyone listened to the father. It was a real male thing. That was that was the labels that were going on during that time. We labeled everything. Now it seems we seem to be moving to a slightly better place to be. The gender stereotypes are still very ingrained in our society, but they're not as quite as ingrained as they used to be. Um, the gender inequality is still really horrible. It's still something that we're not going to, that if we continue to work on, it should get better, but at least right now it's horrible. And then the gender roles in advertising. Oh, for crying out loud. We're making all these people think that, oh, being the perfect either male or female is the way to go. And that's the only way. It's not the only way. And we need to learn that. And we need, through education, we can learn how to find the differences and respect other people's differences, respect other people's opinions, and respect what's going on. I mean, we're we have tried for years to kind of maybe come out of the shell of this gender, you know, socialization that took place in originally, and now we're slightly coming out of it. I've often thought that in one of my classes years ago, about 2 years ago, I went to a thing on poverty. And what they did was they had us go, and each of us was given a card when we got there, saying who we were and what we had, and it gave a little blurb about everything. And I always thought that if we ended up taking a class, and this class gave us, we brought in a group of people or a group of students, and in that time they would hand out little cards that denoted who you are for the exercise. In other words, it would be have your gender, your sex roles, and whether it be your gender preference. And some of them would get one saying lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or heterosexual, or just male, female, whatever they want you to do. And anyway, then on the card it would also list whether you had a mate or were single, whether you were having trouble with your gender, whether you were secure in your gender, and what was going on there. Then the instructor, I think, could create scenarios. During these scenarios, they could put like going to apply for a job, how you would act and what you would do if you were this person. Then, or you could do walking into a gay bar. Well, if you were a gay person, you'd feel very comfortable. If you weren't, you might be uncomfortable. Or walking into a heterosexual bar, or doing all these different things, or male and female restrooms. What could happen there? And then after you've finished with the interaction of dealing with who you were in these things, I really think that it would give you an insight into what some of these people are feeling and what's going on with them. And with education, I really feel we can make a difference. The education and knowledge is going to be the key to changing this, because if you are who you are, it's the most powerful tool in the arsenal for equality, because the inequality is running so rampant now that we're not changing. And also, when you do this, you would have to make sure that when the people were explaining their experience, whether they had a good feeling, a bad feeling, whether they learned anything or didn't learn anything, you'd have to make sure the teacher would explain that there was no fear of reprisal, because a lot of people won't speak up if they're feared, if they're afraid. And you know what? I do really feel that a lot of this has to do with people being afraid. People don't respect others. They don't respect themselves. They don't respect what's going on in the world. They don't respect anything. And I really think that respect is going to be the way that we will move forward in the future. That and education. We have to have an education. We have to make sure that we have done all we can do to be the best person we are while we're here, because we're only here so long. And if we don't try our best every single day, if we don't try to respect who we are, if we don't try to respect who others are, how can we expect someone else to do it for us? It starts from within and works without. And I personally think that we can change with education and knowledge, because of the fact a lot of it's got to do with fear, and the other part of it has to do with people like things to stay the same. And I've noticed that in all my years, and believe me, there's been a few, that when you are trying to live, a lot of it, you get so wrapped up in your individualistic society that you kind of aren't looking out somewhere else where you need to be. So the best thing I can tell anybody is look people in the eye, quit looking at those little tablets and stuff, because we're losing that kind of stuff. Respect people, look them in the eye, understand who they are, and or try to meet them, try to understand them. And I really think that we can make a difference, but it's going to take a step from every single one of us to do. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your allowing me to do this. Bye bye.